Hey everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode 451. It is the 5th of July, 2023. If you celebrate 4th of July, hopefully you had a good long weekend, or you were at least able to enjoy a little bit of fun yesterday, maybe some barbecue, fireworks, whatever it may be that you do to celebrate. So I myself was recovering from being super sick and couldn't get out of bed on Monday to just being sick yesterday, and now I'm basically back at it. So I guess I'm glad I had some downtime and no client calls so I could be sick for it, but we'll check in with the other guys, see how their 4th of July was. And we got some other updates and some quick announcements before we get into your SEO questions. So first of all, Bradley, how you doing?
I'm good, but for some reason this fucking webinar is private. Why is it on private? There's no comments. There's no fucking chat because it's on private. I don't understand. Unbelievable. This is that Zoom update.
Yeah, I told you to stay out of it.
Oh, Christ. Well,
That's
we might not
weird.
have any chat today, guys, because I don't know how to resolve this now. So
I can see it on the page.
you can see what?
I can see episode 451 and people can comment on it. So let's keep going.
On YouTube?
Yeah, I just went to...
I refreshed and now it came. So I don't know. Who knows?
right.
Who
Well,
knows?
back to that then. Bradley was doing terribly, and now Bradley is doing great. So Bradley, how you doing?
Better now that the gremlins have run away, apparently. But yeah, we just did a Zoom update, and that typically wreaks havoc, and it looks like it did, at least temporarily. So, but who cares? I see it now too. We're good to go. So good. Happy to be here, guys. It feels like a Monday to me, not like a Wednesday though. How about you?
Fair enough. Yeah, kind of the same. Chris, I know being in Austria, 4th of July is not a thing, but I guess, did you have a good weekend, or how's your last week been?
I mean, I went out to party like you guys yesterday, like obviously.
Why not? Take advantage, right?
Definitely, yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, besides that, how are things going?
Pretty good. Not too hot at the moment. Lots of work, so quite busy, but at the same time, that's good. Lots of movement. Can't complain.
Nice. Let's see. Well, I've got a couple quick announcements and reminders for people. POFU Live coming up. So we're getting it in. I've got it narrowed down to a few locations in Boston. We're getting ready to nail down the event venue. So grab your tickets, find out more at pofulive.com. Highly suggest do it. It's going to be the first year in person. Really looking forward to joining up with people. We've already got several of the speakers nailed down, and we are lining up several more as the summer marches on. So grab your tickets, pofulive.com. Also, we were just talking about Local Fury, and we're getting ready to share some of the big updates that we've been working on. We've been pretty tight-lipped about what's going on. There's a couple, actually, I know someone who's in the chat right now who knows what's going on. But looking forward to sharing that on a more public level. Keep your eyes and ears open. If you're not on the Semantic Mastery or the Local Fury email list, highly suggest hopping over to either of those, localfury.com, semanticmastery.com, jump on the email list and be the first to know. So next week, we'll be rolling out some announcements about what's going on there, some updates, what we've been working on in the background, and some of the just, well, kick-ass results that we've been getting, to put it plainly. So stay tuned for that. And Bradley, any updates from the mastermind as far as the DHA training? Anything in there you want to share with people? Or I always mix it up. Is it how we got to come up with a good acronym? Yeah, that's it.
DHA. Directory Hybrid Agency.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, things are moving along slowly but surely. A lot of updates actually that I'm trying to work through now, which is going to significantly change a lot of SOPs that I've already developed for the directory stuff, because this whole A2P registration shit for SMS text messaging in the US it's causing a lot of problems for not just me, but everybody, and so so I spent the entire weekend in high level, kind of working my way through that and registering multiple businesses and, getting all that A2P registration done, and also switching over from using Mailgun to using Lead Connector email in high level, which it still uses Mailgun, but it does it through, I guess, Lead Connector and which is a high level app or whatever. Anyway, long story short, I'm going to be able to simplify the SOPs for the directory build process considerably, to to remove some of the tech hurdles that have been there in the past that have stopped other people from finishing the project, like their build and everything else, which is like Mailgun being one of them. Another one is SMS text message stuff. And anyway, long story short, I've been working on how to integrate the newer services to reduce having to set up and configure external third-party apps to work with high level. So that's a good thing. But also, what I'm going to be doing is, for when we launch the program publicly, I'm going to provide the sub account through my high level account, and so that our new members don't have to have their own high level subscription, at least not during the program. Once they graduate from the program, they should upgrade to their own high level account. But we want to be able to provide that to the members so that, number one, you don't have an additional monthly expense while you're in our program. We will cover it. It'll be part of our, like, what you pay for when you join the program. And then also it will reduce the amount of learning curve. Like, what I want everybody to do is get into the program and set up their agency and their, brand, and start prospecting and filling up their pipeline and working on their marketing messages and their sales pitch and presentation. That's what people should be working on for the first 3 months, not the tech, because I already know our audience, and our audience will find every fucking excuse known to man to not sell. Right? Our audience will absolutely get stuck in the tech setup, and that will be their excuse for not making sales calls. And so I want to eliminate that. If at all possible, I want to completely eliminate that to where there's no excuse. Hey, come into the program, learn the prospecting, marketing, and sales part of it. Bring a bunch of pipelines into leads into your pipeline, start generating some revenue. And then now you've got money, and that opens up all kinds of doors. And if you want to add the operational complexity of bringing in all the SEO work into your agency, fine, I'll give you the SEOPs for that. And you can add as much complexity to your business as you want. But at least initially, all I want people focusing on is developing a brand in a particular industry and working on setting up the prospecting and sales machine in the marketing, because that is what generates revenue. All the fulfillment and the tech stack and setting up high level and the directory site and all that other stuff, none of that makes you any money. Zero money. So, like, I want to make it as easy as possible. Now, in the first iteration that we do when we launch this publicly, we will have a high level included. And, I'm going to try to work out to where we provide the white label fulfillment services for the front end products that we sell, or that we're going to be helping you guys to promote to your specific industry. Probably by the second launch, or the second, I guess, cycle, or whatever, the second group that goes through, I'd like to have a done for you directory too, which means, like, we'll provide the directory, at least the initial build with the initial batch of leads, contacts, and everything imported. That's not going to be the first launch when we do it. That won't be available then for sure. But I'm hoping by the second time we will. I really want to make it to where people come in and, like, that's all they do is focus on generating revenue. That's it. And then, because after 3 months, if you've got everything built and you've got a pipeline full of leads, you've got consistent leads, you're consistently on sales calls, now you've got options. Now you've got the revenue to where you can hire and train people to build your own in-house team if you want, or use all kind. Look, as our former partner Hernan used to say, sales cures all. Like, having revenue in your business opens up a lot of doors for you. So that's what I want people to work on. So anyways, there's a lot going on. I don't know how I'm going to get all these SOPs updated. It's just so much work, but it'll get done slow and steady. I'll get it done.
Awesome. Well, let me take a look. I think that was all the announcements, updates I had. Looks like we got a few questions today, so I think we should probably just jump into those. You guys got anything else we need to cover?
No, but Rich, Richard, you're talking about switching to Zapier for SMS so that you don't have to do all that registration crap. I hadn't even heard of that. That's interesting. I might need to look into that for some of my, like, sub accounts that I'm just going to have a hell of a time getting some of those sub accounts registered. So yeah, man, reach out to me, Richard. Let me know how do you get away with using Zapier? Don't tell me here, but ping me in circle, man, with just a direct message me if you don't mind. I'd love to have a chat with you about that, because that might solve some issues for some of my tree care contractor clients that I'm just not going to be able to get them registered. Or at least I don't want to go through that shit is what I'm saying.
I
So
wonder too, make.com, if you could do it the same, it used to be Integromat. They also have some nice setup. Anyways, all right, let's do it.
All right, let me grab the screen, get into it. We had a couple of questions last week that I didn't get to, so I said I would start with those. So I'm going to start with that right here, guys. That one's throwing me off. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Anyway.
Oh yeah, I had the question in the name spot.
Okay. Adam from Texas says, hey guys, helping out a large company with PPC and looking to take over SEO. Yeah, I talked about, I actually answered that one last week. So I'm going to move on to the next one. That was the one where I said, you got to have a hard conversation, you know, talking about how would you approach politely taking control to ensure the client knows you have their interest without being disrespectful. I mentioned last week, you know, I've got a client that he's got a webmaster and the site's built on Joomla, and I don't get into other people's websites anyway. Okay. I just don't do it unless I build my team builds the site. We don't get into other people's sites. We will provide consultation and instructions on how to optimize, but we don't log in other people's sites. It's a policy of mine, and I just flat out won't do it. That's a deal breaker for me. So anyway, long story short, client of mine has a Joomla site, and I provided SEO on-page consultation for the site, and he submitted it to his webmaster, and his webmaster came back and argued with him and said that he didn't want to do it. Like, for example, one of the things was schema. He had generic local business schema. This was for a chiropractor. So it should have had medical clinic or whatever, a more specific subtype. They just had local business schema, but it was added globally on every page of this site. That is not proper implementation for local business schema. And so I just updated. It was very basic, and it was local business, not even the more specific subtype. A long story short, I provided some optimized schema, and I gave instructions to insert that on the location landing page, right? Which is the page associated with the Google Business Profile. The webmaster argued with the client, who came back to me and said, well, my webmaster says he doesn't want to do it because what he has is good enough and blah, blah, blah. And I just flat out told my client, him, like, listen, you came to me for SEO for help, and you paid me for SEO consultation help. I'm giving you the instructions in very clear format and made it as easy as possible for your webmaster to execute it. If your webmaster is going to argue with you, is he a webmaster or is he an SEO? Right. And I was like, so I did my part. Now it's up to you to argue with your webmaster. But in my opinion, and I told him this flat out, you should fire his ass, because who's paying who? Is he paying you? Or are you paying him? If you're paying him, he should do whatever the fuck you tell him to do. Like, honestly. And I mean, I'm not saying that to be rude. And I told my client the same thing. I was very blunt about it, though. I just said, like, seriously, like, your webmaster is arguing with you about proper implementation of schema that is incorrect to begin with. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to waste any more time on this. And I was very clear about that. I said, I'm not going to argue with you and or your webmaster. I provided what is good. You can either implement it or not. That's up to you and your webmaster to determine whether it gets done or not. And that's kind of my answer to that kind of stuff, is you have to be clear. Like, you don't go to an auto mechanic and argue with them about how to install the alternator, right? You don't do that when you go to an auto repair shop. You don't argue with the mechanic about how he's going to fix your car. So why does clients think that they can argue with us about how their website should be optimized? You know what I mean? Like, and why do we allow them to do that? So again, like I said, it's always really, for me, it's being transparent and just fully honest. Okay, listen, I provided what you paid me for. Whether you implement it or not, that's up to you. Does that make sense? So that's the way I do it, guys. You got to be clear. And, the thing is if you're a specialist, right, you're an SEO professional, then if they're coming to you for professional advice, give it to them and act as a professional. Don't fucking waffle. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you allow yourself to be pushed by your clients, then, you're setting a precedent. It's the same thing with, like, replying outside of normal office hours to emails and things like that. now you've set a precedence that it's okay for your client to contact you at any given time. You see what I'm saying? It's things like that that you have to start act. I've said this before, treat your time like an attorney does, right? Like, don't get me wrong. I do things for clients that, you know, I don't charge for. I certainly do. And for good clients, I always do extra things and things like that. But you'll find very quickly that sometimes you give a particular client an inch and all of a sudden they want to take a yard or a mile, right? Because they feel like they can get over on you. So you got to be really clear about that kind of stuff. Like, set boundaries. What do they call it? Scope creep, right? They use, like in the military, they call it mission creep. But that's where, like, you set the deliverables, and then all of a sudden the client asks, if, hey, would you mind doing this one thing? And you just do it for them. And next month it's something else. And next month, and next thing you know, the deliverables has now grown into this much bigger list than what you originally proposed. And it's because the client has continued to add a little bit here and a little bit there. And you weren't adamant about, like, hey, no, I'm sorry, we got to draw up another agreement, or I've got to bill you for this, or whatever, if that makes sense. So you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. And same thing with dealing with webmasters and things like that. I get it, man. It's an ego thing most of the time. Like, seriously, it's their feelings are hurt because you said that their optimization wasn't up to par, right? And most of the time that's what it is. It's you hurt the webmaster's feelings, and that's why they want to argue with you. And you know, in my opinion, you take your ego out of it. It's just business, right? Anyway, moving on. I said I wasn't going to answer it, and then I answered it. Gregory says, hey guys, what is your process to identify money site keywords worth going after that will actually bring in commercial traffic besides the usual service plus location? Well, you could always run ads, right? I mean, seriously, run Google search. If, again, going back to what I always preach about, single industry. If you are in one industry, isn't it worth spending some money on Google Ads to identify the keywords that convert, right? Even if all you ever do is SEO, doesn't it make sense to spend a couple $1,000s on buying data in your particular industry? Another reason why, if you're a Me Too agency, a generalist agency that will work with anybody that will talk to you, you'd have to do that with every client, every industry, excuse me. But if you're in one industry, you only have to do it one time, right? Spend a couple $1,000s, you're buying data to determine what keywords are the keywords that produce actual conversions, not just traffic, but conversions. Does that make sense? So in my opinion, that's what I've done that in the tree service industry. And it's pretty much 5 keywords that bring in all the, like the 80-20 or even 90-10 or 95-5 rule, right? It's like 5 keywords generate the vast majority of traffic and conversions, leads for tree service contractors. So, and then there's variants of those, but at the basic level, it's tree service, tree removal, tree trimming, stump grinding, which is a low kind of value keyword, arborist. Those are pretty much, and in tree care. So I just named off 6 because stump grinding, I use that keyword a lot in like SEO optimization because it does bring in traffic, but it's a low value keyword, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, again, using Google Ads is a great way to do that. The reason why is because you can get to the result a lot faster than if think about what it takes in SEO to determine that, right? You'd have to go out and rank different pages for particular search queries to do, and so you'd have to put in all that time and effort to develop those pages, publish them, then, you know, do whatever you got to do to get them to rank, build links, wait, be patient. You do all the things we typically have to do just to determine, to even start getting data. With Google Ads, you can set up a campaign, a landing page, and you can throw some money at it. And in a matter of a week, a month, 30 days, you'll have all the data that you need to determine whether those keywords are bringing in traffic and if that traffic converts. Does that make sense? So now, again, don't look at it as you're wasting money on Google Ads. You're buying data. You're paying for discovery. Does that make sense? So that's what I would do. And I've done that many times over the years with tree service contractors, but fortunately the tree service industry hasn't changed. So once I've identified those keywords, it's pretty much the same keywords in every location, right? Hopefully that's clear. Google Ads is a great way to buy that kind of information very quickly. By the way, if you want to be cheap and don't use Google, then go do it with Bing ads. You're not going to get near as much data. I mean, it'll take longer to accrue the same amount of data, but you could do it with Bing ads and do it for less money, right? It's a little bit cheaper over there. Anyway, moving on. Ray says, hey guys, what are some simple low maintenance products or services that we can sell on our agencies to boost retention and bring in some new recurring revenue from clients aside from domains, hosting, and email newsletters? Branding ad campaigns, remarketing ad campaigns, like monthly press releases, monthly review commercials using David Sprague's rep videos. That's fantastic for that kind of stuff because it's super easy to fulfill. You can charge a monthly fee to have a new video published every month or once a week or one every 2 weeks or whatever. That's another fantastic service. Monthly press releases, for real. Monthly press releases, charge a client $200, you buy it for 150 or whatever, charge them $225, buy it for 150. You set it up on a recurring schedule. Now you've got automated revenue coming in from it. Remarketing campaigns. Like I said, I don't do Facebook ads and never have. I have no desire to ever do them either. But in Google, you can do Google remarketing with Display Network and YouTube, for example, right? Remarketing campaigns are very easy to set up and maintain. And it's another great revenue source because once it's set up, it's easy to maintain. YouTube ads, what I call branding campaigns. Those are great. I've been doing that for 4 or 5 years now with a lot of my clients where I'll charge $150 or it depends on how big of an area they want to cover. But for most of my clients that I do the YouTube branding campaigns, I tell them it's an indirect lead generation method. Why do I say it's indirect? Well, I've tried running YouTube ads for lead gen, for generating tree service leads. And I spent about $8,000 over the course of about 6 weeks buying data, testing ads. No shit. This was 2 years ago now that I did this. I spent about $8,000 in 6 weeks just buying data from YouTube. And I finally was able to get direct conversions from YouTube ads that went to a landing page that then would convert to a lead down to roughly $60 or like $58 per cost per conversion. After spending about $8,000 in 6 weeks and dialing the campaign in, but it's very difficult to get to monetize on a pay per lead basis when I'm paying $60 per lead, if that makes sense. It's difficult to make that profitable. At least it has been for me in the tree service industry. So I stopped doing that. But what I learned through that process is that YouTube ads work great for setting up targeting. And you can set up geographic targeting and you can set up audience or segment targeting, right? So custom segments, or you can use predefined segments like in-market segments or life event segments and things like that. And why I call it this is how I pitch it to my clients. I tell them like, hey, this is an indirect lead generation type campaign. I call it a branding campaign because it will keep your brand name in front of people so that when they are ready to order to request tree services or to have a tree removed or whatever, they're going to see, they'll think of you because they've seen your ad over and over and over again. So that goes for any kind of remarketing, but on YouTube specifically, because another thing is I found that a lot of YouTube ads will end up, you can go to look at the device report and it will show you. And a lot of YouTube ads, like more and more YouTube ads are being seen on TVs, on televisions than they are on mobile devices or computers, right? So more and more people are seeing YouTube ads because as more people get away from using cable services and use more kind of streaming services, YouTube, what's it called? YouTube Red or whatever is another, streaming TV service. And you can get ads, up on YouTube when it's my point that I'm trying to make is I'm seeing a lot over the last several years. We've seen more and more of the percentage of ads being viewed on televisions, right? So it's a great campaign. So anyway, what I was saying was, typically for most of my clients, I got a few of them that are double where they'll pay $300 per month for YouTube ad campaigns, but most of them just pay $150 a month. And like, I'll set it up with, $2 per day is my budget. Like that, they pay me $150 and I run the YouTube ads campaigns through my Google Ads account. Does that make sense? So they're just paying me a flat fee. And then I just take $2 per day. So $60 per month is what I use to fund the ads. And then I keep $90 a month to manage the campaign. That makes sense. But that's all that's needed because when you set up YouTube ads properly and you do it local, you set geographic targeting and audience targeting, segment targeting, et cetera. I mean, you can get, views for a few pennies per view. So a couple bucks per day can get, thousands of views per month. And they're all geo-targeted views, if that makes sense. So those are just several different services that I do, or is what I call revenue multipliers. Just some, things that are easy to manage and maintain. Rep videos, again, is another great one, especially if you combine things like rep videos with YouTube ads. Now you've got, and also, again, you can stack a press release onto that too, right? Think about this. You could do a package deal where you do something like David Sprague's rep video, where you get one video per month and one press release that then promotes that video. So remember, you pitch that as a review commercial. A rep video is as us showcasing one of your 5-star reviews, right? And then you publish a press release that highlights that 5-star review with the video embedded in the press release, right? Now, when somebody does a brand search for the company, that press release will rank, the video will rank, it will populate the brand search with multimedia, so rich media. Does that make sense? And now you've got, again, a press release, which can be automated if you have scheduled press releases. Press Advantage does that, right? And so you could charge a client $300 a month for a rep video and a press release per month. And you can set that up to where it's literally automated. And that's, again, another great revenue source that actually produces an effect. So there's a lot of good things you can do. Just get creative. Look for services that can be automated. Next, Luke says, hey guys, is there any cool stuff we can do for SEO and backlinks, leveraging subdomains on our money sites, looking for potential ideas that are out of the box? Nothing that I would recommend anymore. Back in the day, we used to put subdomains on all sites and then just spam the shit out of them. That's how you could push or pump domain authority very quickly. But that was back in the days when just domain authority manipulation would actually move the needle. Now, unless it's relevant, I haven't done any tests like that in several years, but I can't imagine it working now. It possibly could. I just haven't done any testing like that in years. I can't imagine manipulating just pure metrics, which have no basis in relevance whatsoever, work. And maybe it still does work. I haven't tested that in a long time, and I don't have any desire to test that now. So not really. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Well, one thing I can do with subdomains, but if you create geo pages or posts, so like supporting like neighborhood posts and such on a subdomain of the money site, you can do some pretty cool things with that, but I can't really cover that here, nor would I. That's more like mastermind stuff. But there are some stuff you can do with that that can augment or supplement, right? Add to some local SEO stuff that you're already doing on the money site. I'm going to be teaching on that in our mastermind here soon, because that's part of some of the processes that we're doing for the directory hybrid agency. So, but yeah, there's nothing I can think of right off the top of my head other than what I just mentioned that would help with subdomain stuff. Quinn says, hey, SM, how would you approach making money with affiliate marketing in the short term? I already have a site and lots of quality content. Affiliate marketing in the short term. I mean, again, I don't do affiliate marketing much, guys. So take everything I say here with a grain of salt from somebody that's not real experienced in affiliate marketing. If I were going to do affiliate marketing, first of all, I would only go after like high ticket stuff. Get out of the internet marketing space because there's a lot of cheap bastards in the internet marketing space. Real estate is one of the best markets you can be in so real estate investing market is one of the best you can be in for affiliate marketing, because the people that want to learn real estate investing, they spend money, lots of money. Good real estate courses are not cheap. So those are good. If you can get affiliate programs in the real estate industry, like the real estate, they call it the investing industry, but a lot of those guys aren't investors. They're real estate marketers. Unless you're buying and holding real estate, you're not really an investor. You're a marketer. So anyway, all I'm saying is I would go after high ticket stuff in industries that people spend ungodly amounts of money. Okay. I'd get out of the internet marketing space, the biz op space, because that's where you get a lot of broke people. Okay. Number one. Number two is if having a site with content, that's great, but is it generating traffic? That's the point. Like having a site with a lot of content. Okay. But is it generating traffic? Because if not, then that doesn't really mean much. Do you have a list? If you have a list, I would start emailing was going to probably be your quickest way to get revenue for affiliate marketing, is if you have a list, you can send them relevant offers. But yeah, I mean, the quickest back in the day when I did a few years ago, many years ago now, when I did some affiliate stuff, I did launch jacking because that was always a quicker way to get money. Because launch jacking, remember with launch jacking means you go and target product names for products that have not launched yet or are about to launch. So it's generally a lot less competition because it is a new name. The product name is a new keyword essentially. So you can usually rank if you do it properly and you've got, but the thing is again, get out of like the biz op space, because in the biz op space, you got hundreds of other internet marketers that are also doing launch jacking for the same products. Right? So what I'm saying is if you're in the internet marketing space, follow along with some of the other like affiliate marketers do in the internet marketing space and see how you can apply those methods to affiliate marketing outside of the internet and marketing and biz op space to the industries where people spend more money. Does that make sense? So like, again, real estate is one of the best ones for that, in my opinion. Adam, I saw you or turn on your camera. So that must mean you want to comment.
Yeah, I got put in my 2 cents. I think what you said totally makes sense. Knowing more about the site here would help. So if that person's here, that'd be great to have some follow up. But like Bradley said, let's say you don't have an email list, then start, build one, because then you control that communication channel. Offering a lead magnet, go back to basics, don't overthink this, come up with something helpful, whatever it is in industry or niche you're in, and start building that up. And then you can start communicating more with them. Like Bradley said, I would generally go after higher dollar, but if you've already got a site, then maybe you've already you're baked into what it is. And if you're getting traffic, that's great. You can kind of work on that and go out and see what other people are doing. Like get outside of the IM industry and go look at what some people are doing. I mean, there's some good sources out there, just even blog posts like Authority Hacker, because the other thing I would think with this would be like, if you have this site, don't just think short term, maybe you need to generate some money or it started getting traffic and you're like, oh, I should monetize it. That's great. But think long term too. Could you build a brand around it, right? Could you build this into something bigger? So monetize it now. Heck yes, use that, build it bigger, kind of see how people do that and how they approach that.
Agreed. And definitely start to build a list if you're not already using your website. Put relevant lead magnets and stuff on there so that you can build a list. So that, that's an asset. That's a huge asset, having an email list, especially if you segment it into, particular topical categories or interests and things like that. And then you can mail to them and mail out offers and things like that. So all I know is, like I said, if I was going to do affiliate marketing, I would get the hell out of the internet marketing space for sure. I would do it probably in real estate because I'm familiar with that industry anyway. So. Okay, Bobby says, I heard you mention press releases can be used for helping businesses, Google business profiles rank better. How so? Oh, this is a great question. Okay. Do I have time? Yeah, I got 27 minutes. All right, so here's a really good strategy, guys. I'll share this. A really good strategy for using press releases for Google business profiles. And it's funny because I actually just covered this today with one of my link building clients who we're going to work together to try to get some better maps results in a very stubborn part of the map. Anyway, there's a great way to do this is if you have, particular areas that a map is not ranking well in. If you publish a geo post or page on the money site, targeting the top level term, I don't know how granular I'm going to get into this with you guys today. I'm going to keep it kind of high level conceptual because the nitty gritty stuff is, again, I have to only cover that in the, paid setting, so to speak. But so what I'm saying is if you understand how to publish geo posts or pages on the money site properly, which in my opinion, don't just publish posts or pages anymore with just geographic data, because I found that is just not really producing the effect that it did 2 years ago. It has to tie back into the business. It has to be relevant to the business. But you can do that. Like, for example, if you look at a particular area of the search grid report or whatever, and there's a part on the map that you want to push into, as long as there's some green adjacent, like, I'm just using the green, orange, and red or whatever, like most geogrids. But as long as you have some green adjacent to it, you can typically push into or expand the map out a little bit further by identifying any of the cities, towns, census designated places, unincorporated communities, etc. Let me kind of back up for a minute. Whatever city it is that your Google business profile is in, go do a search. You might already know this, but go do a search. Like what city, what county is city, comma, state in, right? And then you'll get the county that a lot of the times the city will be surrounded by a county or will have adjacent counties, etc. The area that you want to push into. So first identify what that area is, which county that area is in, is what I'm saying. Then go to the county Wikipedia page. And there's a communities link or whatever on the section. There's a community section. So in the left sidebar, you'll see communities. And almost every county Wikipedia page will have that. So you click on that and it'll jump down to that section on the page and it will show you cities, towns, unincorporated communities, census designated places, etc. It'll give you a list of all of the named location entities within that county. Okay. So those are now you have a list of the named location entities that you can start to target with posts. That's where you go publish a geo post on the site. I use posts for that kind of stuff that you could use for a reason. But you could do it with a page. The point is now you want to target your top level topic term plus the named location entity for the area that you want to push into. You understand? So now you've got the geo post that is top level topic term. So the broadest coverage so the broadest keyword, or it's not a keyword, it's a topic that covers the most keywords, plus the city, comma, state, or however the named entity is in Wikipedia. I've got to demonstrate this because otherwise it's just not going to make sense. I'm going to do a little bit of training here on this, guys. Hopefully we'll get to all the questions today, but let's see. Let's just do Winchester, Virginia, which would be, and just in case you don't know, you can always go to the Wikipedia page and then find out the county too. So you'll see that right here, it'll say Frederick County. Okay. So this is Frederick County, Virginia, right? By the way, notice how it is spelled out, right? So what I'm saying here is if we go over here to the community section, and we'll scroll down here, we're going to see here's the towns, census designated places, and other unincorporated communities. You guys understand these are named location entities. Okay. So this is an example. Here's one called Kernstown. Okay. So it's Kernstown, Virginia. Sometimes you'll see, it'll say like whatever the town, the town name is, or what, in this case, it's not a town. It was a other unincorporated community, but sometimes it'll have that. And then it'll be comma, the city, and then the state. So for example, in Louisville, Kentucky, which is a major metro area. So if we do Louisville, KY, and you'll go to Wikipedia, and then there's the Louisville metro area. It might be here anyway. Louisville metropolitan area in this case, because Louisville was a city with a bunch of suburbs, and then they kind of expanded. Anyway, I don't know, you guys don't give a shit about that. I learned all this when I was optimizing some tree service stuff for this area. But the Louisville metropolitan area, again, if we come over here and we'll look at the counties and then we look at municipalities right here, you can see that there's a ton of stuff here, right? These were all former named entities that then were kind of all combined into the Louisville metro area, if that makes sense. So I bring that up because whenever you we've talked about like Newburgh, Kentucky, for example, I've shared that a lot, but sometimes you'll see where it'll say, in this case, it's just Shively, Kentucky, but sometimes you'll see where it'll say like Newburgh, comma, Louisville, Kentucky, if that makes sense. So it'll also append the city name to it. Anyway, to get back to what I was trying to say about this, Kernstown, Virginia is a unincorporated community in Frederick County, right? So then what I would do is go publish a post on the money site targeting tree service, or in my case, because the top level topic term is tree maintenance, I would have tree maintenance, Kernstown, Virginia, separator, then the brand name of the location. Does that make sense? Then after I publish that post, I'm going to go summarize that post using that SEO title as the first line of text in the Google Business post. So I summarize the geo post on the money site into 1,500 characters or less that will be turned into a Google Business post with the SEO title as the first line of text in the Google Business post. Then the CTA button, the Learn More button, links to that post on the money site. Publish the post, right? So the Google Business post, wait for it to appear on the Google Business website, extract that inner page URL, convert it to the other format. I've talked about that before, but that's using the business.google.com subdomain instead of the business.site subdomain. It's much more powerful. It will index. I'll demonstrate this here in just a moment. But then once you get that inner page URL from the Google Business website and you convert it to the appropriate format, then you build links to that. And that's where press releases come in. Now you can hit that Google Post URL with a press release with the exact match, or what I call a target anchor. And you'll get 300, 400, 500 links with exact match or target anchors pointing to the Google Business post that has the Learn More button. That's the anchor text, Learn More, that links to the geo post on the money site. Does that make sense? Think about what you're doing there. You're pushing a whole bunch of links and referring domains with an exact match or target anchor text keyword to a Google Business post that's connected directly to the Google Business profile that ultimately pushes through to de-optimize the anchor text. It pushes through a generic or miscellaneous anchor, Learn More, to the geo post on the money site. You can see how you can start to influence the map that way, right? So how can I demonstrate this? Let me demonstrate this. I know I just paused my screen. Just give me a minute, guys. But Google posts don't index. Okay. Okay. Let me just show you. Hold on. Let me open up another one. Let's see if this one ranked. I know you guys aren't seeing my screen yet. Just give me a minute. I should have had this prepared beforehand, but anyway, well, that's the homepage, not the, try one more thing. Hold on, stand by. That's interesting. It looks like Google brought it back to the homepage. Anyway, long story short is, here is an example. If I look at Tree Service Kernstown, VA, we can see the Google Business website is ranking here because that's the actual Google Business site, though, not the post. I have a specific post for that, which I did not follow the format as I just described. You should use the first line of text, should be in the post, should be targeting the top level keyword. If that makes sense. So if we were to look at this site real quick, you guys are seeing my screen now. Yeah.
Yep, seeing your full desktop.
Okay, cool. So let me just show you. If I go into Winchester and we scroll down, we're going to find Kernstown in here somewhere. HIJK right there. Okay. So there's my geo post. Okay, there's my geo post. You see it's optimized for tree maintenance, Kernstown, VA. All right. Now, in retrospect, this should have been optimized as the named entity, which is this. So Tree Service Kernstown, Virginia. It's a little bit tricky to do that with tags, though, which is precisely why it's not that way. But this is the geo post here. So then going and publishing a Google Business post. Now, again, this one was not formatted properly. I was doing some testing at this time, but the first line of text in this post should be the SEO type. Okay. And then you publish the post, you take this post URL and you convert that into the other format that uses the business.google.com domain, as opposed to the our subdomain.business.site. It's that's the stronger version of it. The metrics are much, much higher. Those indexed, they will stay indexed. And then once you do that, once you publish that, now you've got a link target. You can use press releases. Like I said, you could target tree service or tree maintenance or tree removal or any one of those terms that are synonymous with the topic tree maintenance, which, by the way, tree maintenance covers all of those: arborist, tree pruning, tree trimming, tree removal, tree felling. All of those keywords are associated with the topic term tree maintenance. So I can optimize with the tree maintenance anchor text to hit that post URL with a press release. And that pushes a ton of relevance into this post, but then it de-optimizes it through this learn more button, which is an anchor text that goes to that page. Does that make sense? So that's a great way to actually use press releases to push into different areas and to get better results. I'm not saying one and done is going to do it for you. It might not, but there's ways that you can do this even kind of more granularly, right? Like, for example, if we know that Kernstown probably doesn't, but we could potentially go in and look to see, is there specific neighborhoods within Kernstown, Virginia? That's a relatively small area, so it might not return anything, but we could always check for that, right? So like, go look for neighborhoods in Kernstown, VA, and just see. Neighborhoodscout.com is one of them. Now see, look, it's saying Winchester because Kernstown is a suburb of Winchester. So that makes sense. But you could always go in here and figure out, like, where is Kernstown in this? I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to go. I don't know this city well enough to know off the top of my head, but you could go in and figure out, are there any neighborhoods in here that are listed that are part of the Kernstown area of Winchester? If so, now you can use other Google business. You don't need any more geo posts on the site. You just need additional Google business posts where you target tree service in the neighborhood name, and then the CTA button then links from there to either the Kernstown page because it's a neighborhood within Kernstown, right? Or you link to the Google business post that's optimized for Kernstown with the other Google business post URLs. Does that make sense? So in other words, you create a silo within the Google business posts using the neighborhood keyword plus neighborhood name to build relevance up to the city or town or whatever page, the geo post essentially that you created. Hopefully that's clear. Anyway, that went a lot longer than I planned, but hopefully you guys got something good out of that. Just try it and see. Like I said, it's not always going to be successful on the first attempt, but you can definitely push relevance that way through maps. Moving on. Gary says, hey guys, how do you deal with clients wanting individual line item breakdown of everything's for SEO campaigns and hourly breakdowns, etc.? I try to productize my services to make internal tracking easier and deal with different vendors. I typically mix and mash items together depending on the client, then build them one line with combined price and give brief summary of deliverables. But I've had some people ask above. I have SEO experience, but haven't had lots of SEO clients. Not sure if I'm doing it wrong or dealing with the wrong clients. I would appreciate an opinion around this, as I don't want to hinder my ability to work with larger enterprises, as I only do local currently. That's a good point. Typically with my services, I have a flat monthly retainer fee, and then I show what the deliverables are in the initial agreement. When I say agreement, it's a verbal agreement because I don't do contracts. I always tell clients, if I'm doing my job, you're going to want to continue paying me. If I'm not doing my job, you should be able to walk away. Or if I decide I don't want to work with you anymore, I should be able to walk away. And I say that very clearly and that's why I don't like doing contracts, because contracts can mean, it can make it harder to exit if needed. And so I just do pay monthly, essentially month to month. Okay. So I do everything on the initial kind of proposal. And I said agreement before, but what I meant was proposal. And I just list, okay, here's your monthly retainer fee, and here's the deliverables that are included in that monthly retainer. And if they want that monthly retainer broken into line items, then I just take whatever the retainer fee is and just split it up across those in a way that seems logical across those deliverable items. That makes sense. And that's it. That's it. The good thing about doing it that way, though, is anytime a client comes to you and asks to do something additional, if you have everything with line item pricing, you can easily, okay, sure. Where do I send? As soon as you pay the bill, the invoice, I'll do this for you. Or where do I send you the bill once it's done? You see what I'm saying? So it makes sense to go through that and productize your services as much as possible. Put a line, a dollar amount on it. Is it a per task basis, or is it you do, like, for example, Google Business Posts, we charge a set amount per post, but they're either going to get 1 post, 2 posts, or 3 posts per week. So the monthly line item is however many posts they get times the dollar amount per post, right? So they're either going to get 4, 8, or they're either going to get 4 posts, 8 posts, or what would 3 times for 12? Duh. Sorry, it's been a long day. 12 posts per month, right? And so that's the way that I do it. It just makes it easier that way, in case they come to you and say, hey, look, I'd like this month for you to do this or that. Okay, sure. That now you've got a line item that can get added to either a separate invoice, or you can submit them ahead of time and say, as soon as this is paid, I'll take care of the work. You know what I mean? I talked about earlier mission creep or scope creep. And that is one way to resolve that very quickly. When you have line items for every deliverable and a client asks for something extra, you send them the bill. They'll either stop asking for extra stuff, or you'll condition them. You'll set the precedent that every time they ask for something else, in addition to what your original proposal said, they're gonna have to pay for it. And that's a good precedent to set, right? So anyway, that's typically what I do. I mean, you just have to go through and figure out what are your costs. A great book for that is Dan Kennedy's No BS series, No BS Management of People and Profits, Ruthless Management. It's the Dan Kennedy Ruthless Management of People and Profits. Get that book, read it. It will teach you how to really put a dollar value on everything that you do in your business, including the deliverables, your time, which, by the way, everybody here, including myself, undervalues our time. Trust me. But I would encourage you, like, literally go get that book and read through that. And that's going to help you out a lot. It really helped me to grow White Label Services Agency when it transformed my business, essentially, by reading that book from Dan Kennedy. It really did. It really transformed my business, because it dawned on me it became apparent or clear to me the importance of understanding your numbers, like, really well, so that, because otherwise a lot of times you think you're making profit and you might not be, because you have all these hidden costs and things that you didn't work into it. And also, like I said, we are all, including myself, undervaluing our time. So the Ruthless Management of People and Profits, Dan Kennedy, No BS book series. Go pick it up. I'm telling you, you'll get a lot of insight from that. Rex says, hey, Bradley, my agency over the years has acquired in 301 different related domains with good link profiles, which have helped rankings over time. But other than redirects, I have not done much. Is there any link building I can do to help push some more power or some power through these domains? Many are 6 years or older and have some solid links from big sites or niche relevant sites. Wondering what your thoughts are on this. Yeah, I mean, just build links to the redirect domains. You can do that, right? So build relevant links to the redirect domains. I know of a guy that sells some pretty good relevant links. So I'm just saying, push topical relevance, more relevance into the domains. That's one of the best ways you can do. I mean, that's what I would do. If you've already got 301s pointing at your site, it's safer, in my opinion, to build links to the 301 redirect than it is directly to the money site, right? Because you can always unredirect or redirect the domain elsewhere if it were to create a problem. So 301s are good for that. It's, again, Terry Kyle from many, many years ago, he called it switchbox SEO. And to build all your links through redirects. That way you can point the redirect elsewhere if it ever ends up becoming a problem. In your case, it doesn't seem like that's an issue, but all I'm saying is it makes sense. If you have redirect domains that were pretty solid anyway, why not continue to juice those up? Since they're redirected to your money site, your money site will benefit from it. But at the same time, it gives you that ability to switch it off or point it elsewhere, if that makes sense. Okay. Bobby says, I think we already did that one. Yeah, I think I saw in comments somebody said you already answered it. Need to turn that into an SOP. Yeah, and Cecilia clarified. She's going to do it. Good, Cecilia. I got my work cut out already with SOPs. I can't commit to any more right now. How do you access the Google Site Creator for Google business profiles that don't have a site yet? God, how many times has this come up? Oh, all right, let's do it again. This is one of those. I've got a tutorial video now, a playlist that I just send to all my link building clients. Every time I get that question, I just send them a playlist and just say, watch these. I'll go through it again though. Stand by for a minute. All right, here we go, guys. Forgive me for acting, irritated about this question. I've just answered this question so many times, but I understand. If you've not ever heard the answer before, it's new to you and it's important. So I get it. So again, forgive me for sounding annoyed. Anyway, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here. Let's try that again. All right, you guys are seeing my screen? Yes. All right, so this is my main LLC, which is just a shell company now, essentially. But if we go into the edit profile, scroll down to the website section. If you don't see this Google Business website thing, it's probably because you already have a website associated with the profile. Just clear the profile, the website, click save. Give it a few minutes. Give it 5 minutes. Shut everything down. Give it 5 or 10 minutes. Then you come back, click edit profile, scroll down to the website section, click edit, and all of a sudden you'll have create a free website with Google or something like that. It'll say something like that, some prompt. Then you click on that and it takes you to the Google Business Profile Manager, the website section where it'll allow you to set your theme and all that. And then you click publish. Once you click publish, go back to the Google Business Profile Manager, reopen everything, click edit profile, scroll back down to the website section here, and then add your self-hosted site back in, click save. That will make your self-hosted site become the primary site again. But now you'll have this always appearing to manage your Google Business Profile website. Is that clear? I've sent that to like 36 people now, and I've only had 3 people come back. It was 2, but in the last week, I've had one other person come back and say it didn't work for them. So out of like literally 35 people that I've sent this to, I've only had 3 people say that did not work for them. So 95% or greater of the people that I sent this to are able to get the Google Business website stuff to appear by following the process that I just explained. Hopefully that's clear. Moving on. James says, love your content. Great. Thanks, James. So I have questions about service pages and H1s. I have location service pages created where it's targeting nearby cities that the store is not located, keyword plus city as the H1. Okay. For the service pages that are listed on the navigation bar, linked directly to the main page, should they include the city location of where the store is located for the H1, even though I want to target nearby city? Or should I leave it off? For example, should the service page linked directly to the main page H1 be service plus city of where the store is located, or service only? It's hard to give you an exact answer without knowing more about that particular project. So I'm just going to point to, once again, my own site. So maybe you can just model this, but you can see, like, for example, I have a services page. The services page is not optimized for any one location. You understand? This is a multi-location business, but the services page is not optimized for any one location. It's optimized for the services only and the brand, because you should always append the brand to every page on the site, full stop. Okay. But then I have my location, which are actually posts. But like, for example, we're going to Charlottesville, Virginia. Now we see, what do we see? We see the location page. The SEO title is optimized for keyword plus city. The H1 is optimized for city plus keyword, right? And it's referencing and linking to the service page. These are all jump links. So again, just so you know, like, for example, if I just click on tree removal, I'm going to open link a new tab. It jumps directly to, it's the services page, but it just jumps to the tree removal section of the page. So do you understand what we're doing here? We are forcing associations between the city page and the services. But the service page is not optimized for any one city because there's multiple cities that this brand is targeting, right? So what I'm saying is the location post should be optimized for the location or page, whatever it is. As I showed you before with, again, we'll just scroll down to the Charlottesville area and we'll click on this one, right? So this would be, it's optimized for location plus keyword, right? Location plus keyword. But the service page is optimized just for services. I don't know if that's clear, but this is a really good strategy, guys, that kind of resolves that problem with trying to have separate service plus city pages for every service for every city. Right now we have one services page, and then we have all of our city pages where we just provide a summary of the services, but we link to the services page from every city page. We're forcing the associations between the services and the location. I don't know if that's clear or not, but you know, I've tried to demonstrate that dozens and dozens and dozens of times with this keyword here, right? So tree service, Newburgh, Kentucky. We were talking about Kentucky earlier, right? Again, Newburgh tree service, Grim Reaper tree services, that's my site. Follows the same sort of format that I was just describing. There's, in this case, I have 4 separate service pages, but on any one of the city pages, like this one's optimized for Newburgh, Kentucky, I link to each of the service pages. And that's how I can rank this one page for, and that's one site. There's another one right here that is, look at that. I got pushed to number 3. Tree maintenance Newburgh. Again, this is a different brand, similar type of site structure. Same thing. We've got, in this case, there's 4 different service pages. I don't like to do that anymore. I try to combine them all into one. But then each separate service page, like Newburgh, for example, it links to each of those, or excuse, each separate location page links to each of the services. And so as I've described or demonstrated many, many times, just take a look at how this works, right? So again, Grim Reaper Tree Services, Felling Pro. That's these 2 sites here that you're looking at, guys. They're very similar sites, different brands. One's built on High Level, one's built in WordPress. Similar site structure where I just played with rearranging the SEO title in H1 and the first H2. I just played with different configurations on how I arrange those things. And why is this one always outranking the other one? Well, because this one's WordPress and this one down here, Felling Pro, is on High Level. And Google favors WordPress over High Level sites any day of the week. It's just better code. It's better optimized code. That makes sense. So I just pointing that out because, again, if we take any one of these keywords here, any one of the services, you'll see this one location page ranks for all of those services. Why? Because I created the association between that location page and all of the services. Even though in these examples, they're separate service pages, I can still associate the one location page with all of those services. So I can rank the one location page for all of the keywords. Does that make sense? That's what I'm doing here. Like, again, coming back over here, I showed tree trimming, right? Let's go look at tree removal. Again, Grim Reaper Tree Services, Felling Pro. See, one page ranking for all of the services because of the way that I associated those together, those pages together. And I mean, I could go through here and just show you keyword after keyword after keyword. I've done this a number of times. Tree cutting, again, Grim Reaper Tree Services, Felling Pro, stump grinding, stump removal, arborist service, land clearing. Go do it on your own. You'll see page ranked. Why? Because again, it's the way that you force the associations. So that's what I would do is I would have a service page optimized for the service. Guys, again, go back and model my build and see what I'm talking about, right? In this case, it's one service page with jump links to each of the separate services instead of having separate service pages. I prefer this method because it's one page as opposed to having multiple pages for the services. These are all synonymous with each other. Hopefully that's clear. Anyway, I know that I went over again, guys, and I didn't get to answer any of the questions or reply to any of the chat comments, but it is what it is. Sorry, guys, I got to wrap it up. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Some of you.